absolutely beautiful images out of the Sony A7S. It's pretty dark outside. Well, getting there. It is roughly, let me check the time. We are in Los Angeles, California, wintertime, December 24th, 2014. It is 5 minutes to 5 at night. We are at ISO 4000 5.6 aperture with a shutter speed of 1/60th. Moving up to 6400 ISO. It's just a piece of cake for this camera.
What's up, you guys? Josh here from J Media, out here in beautiful Woodland Hills, California. We're in my backyard right now, shooting with the A7S. It's about 5 p.m. It's absolutely gorgeous outside. The clouds are turning orange and everything. And I'm shooting at 6400 ISO, and I see myself in the monitor brighter than I actually am. So this is absolutely crazy. I have my GH4 here. Love the camera, and it can't do that well. It's 6400. It's unusable footage. But with the A7S, it's absolutely unreal.
All right, we are now recording at 8000 ISO. Moved up from 6400. We're at 8000 right now. Aperture is at 5.6 with a 1/60th shutter speed. I will be grading this footage because I am shooting on a flat profile. I'm just going to be grading it so I can add some more detail in there. But that will not, I'm going to grade it in a way that does not affect the noise level. I'm just going to maybe put in the saturation. I'm going to put in a little more saturation in there just to make things seem a little warmer. Alright, now let's go ahead and go up to 10,000 ISO. We're at 10,000 ISO. We're seeing things about as clear as my eyes are seeing them. Maybe a little bit brighter than my eyes. Just a little bit, but pretty close. So what we're seeing now is actually a little bit brighter than what I'm seeing with my own eyes. Just a little bit. Okay, looks like I'm a little underexposed here, so let's go ahead and bump up the ISO. We are now at 12,800 ISO. We are definitely seeing things brighter than I am seeing them. Okay, underexposed again, going up to 16,000 ISO. Pay attention in the blacks and the shadows. Search for noise as best as you can to get a good, clear idea of how well this camera handles low light. Look at the dark areas, look at the shadows, and see if you can find any noise. $20,000 ISO. Now, of course, if you're going to be on a professional shoot, you obviously will never be shooting at such a high ISO. Not because this camera can do so well at low light, but because you need to be shooting with external lighting equipment. You cannot risk having a person's face being too dark and worrying about it in post. You should always have great lighting. And the general rule of thumb is if you're in a professional shoot, you never want to go above 800 or 1000 ISO, simply because you have the right lighting equipment and you should be using it. But this is just run and gun type of stuff. If you travel and you want to capture some things at night, you take this camera with you, because sometimes you can't bring external lighting equipment, and this camera can definitely outperform anything out there. Again, we're underexposed, so I'm going to be lifting up the ISO. We are at 25,600. Pay attention to the shadows, dark areas, search for noise as best as you can. We are definitely seeing things a lot lighter than the human eye right now. You know, I always had a saying that camera manufacturers can never make a camera or a lens that can see better than the human eye, because I think the human eye is the best camera and lens. But this camera honestly proved me wrong, because it can see at night. It can see so much better than my eyes at night. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'm underexposed by 2 stops. Let's go ahead and lift up the ISO. 32,000 ISO. Aperture 5.6, again shutter at 1/60th. Obviously the GH4 can't go up this high, and if it did, it would look like absolute garbage. But the GH4 does produce spectacular images. I'm going to do a review on that camera soon. Stay tuned for that. I'm just showing you guys, if you're deciding whether the A7S is the camera for you, and whether you're a wedding videographer and you need something that does really well in low light, you know, this is the reason why I'm shooting this video, to show you guys how well this camera can do in low light. And I say, if a camera can outperform the human eye in low light, you buy it. Alright, we're underexposed by 1 stop, going from 32,000 ISO to 40,000 ISO. Again, you should never be shooting this high on a professional shoot. You always want to use professional, or at least some lighting equipment. It's absolutely beautiful outside. Christmas Eve. Notice the depth of field. How awesome. this camera performs when it comes to shallow depth of field, thanks to its awesome full frame sensor. Alright, we're almost 2 stops underexposed, so I'm going to go ahead and up the ISO. 51,200. By now you should start seeing a little bit of noise coming in. But again, this is the kind of noise you would see in a regular film. So this is very acceptable noise. I wouldn't even have to worry about using neat video to clean it up. I would just leave it in there. This amount of noise makes it even more cinematic and film-like. So that's the funny part. Yeah, keep looking in the dark areas. We are seeing things a lot brighter than my eyes are. Okay, hiring the ISO. We are at 64,000. Alright. And we're losing light pretty quickly here. It's getting pretty dark. So I'm going to be increasing the ISO in a few seconds here. Okay, going from 64,000 to 80,000 ISO. And realistically, you would never be even shooting at this ISO, even if you were a traveler. There's no need. One, because you're already going to start losing picture quality, and two, you're going to start seeing some noise coming in. But again, neat video would take care of that. But I've been in downtown LA in pretty dark areas, and I never even went above 20,000 ISO. So keep that in mind. I think they just made this camera go up this high just for, you know, shits and giggles. It's kind of ridiculous. But they just wanted to prove a point that they can make the best low light sensor out there. Good job, Sony. Okay, I'm underexposed by 1 stop. Going from 80,000 to 102,400 ISO. Again, you would never ever be shooting at this high ISO. You're gonna see, you're gonna start seeing some considerable amount of noise. Again, look at that bokeh. Look at those beautiful lights that are blurred out. And another thing is that if you shoot at such high ISO and you see one light in the distance, that one light will be blown out. It will be clipped and you won't be able to tell what it is. That's why when you're shooting a candlelit scene, you never go into the high ISO range, because then the candle doesn't look like a candle. It looks like some weird glowing thing. So remember to keep that in mind. It is pretty dark outside right now. $128,000 ISO. $160,000 ISO. Incredible. 204,800 ISO. Let me focus here. And last but not least, well, actually 2 more. 256,000 ISO. 320,000 ISO. Wow, okay, more than I thought. and 409,600 ISO. This is completely blown out. You would never use this. Alright guys, and this was my noise video on the Sony A7S. See you guys soon.